Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to create the pluck synth sound from Mike Posner's I Took a Pill in Ibiza, the SeeB remix. So let's get straight to the tutorial. If some of you remember, I did create a chord trigger preset for this, and I recreated the synth in that video, and people were asking how do I get that? Well, here it is. So we're going to end up making this sound right here. So let's move on over to our second track right here. It's a software instrument track, and we're going to load in Logics ES2 Synthesizer. And we're going to be working off of the default settings in ES2. So first thing we're going to change is just change the number of voices, and we're going to change it to unison. We're going to make sure unison is ticked off. Just change that back. For our oscillator number 1, we're going to put it on a square wave right here. Oscillator number 2, we're going to push it to a sine wave, and for oscillator number 3, because we're using all 3 oscillators, we're going to leave it on this guy right here that it defaults to. Alright, so the pitch of our first oscillator, we're going to bring it down 1 full octave, and for our third oscillator, we're going to bring it up 1 full octave, and we'd be good to go with something like that. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go over to our left side right here and push up the analog to about 1 o'clock. We're going to turn up our glide a little bit so we can glide in between our notes. And then we're going to move on over to our middle section right here. We're going to push our bend to kind of be mixed between the left side, the filter 1 and filter 2. And then we're just going to bring up our cutoff all the way down here, something like that. And our cutoff will be around 7 o'clock here. Our resonance we're going to bring all the way up to about 2 o'clock. Gives you more of that pluck sound. And we're just going to turn on fat right here. We're going to add in some drive. And we're going to add in some FM right there. Next thing that we're going to do, let's go ahead and add in some distortion. Just ever so slightly, just a little bit. But we're going to pump this all the way to be a bright tone. And we're going to pump up our sine wave to about 2 o'clock as well. Let's go ahead and just bring in that chord trigger preset so we can actually play the proper chords or stabs. Where is it here? Just going to pitch this up 1 octave. As you can see, we're getting closer to our sound. Let's just go ahead and lower our sustain because we don't need it to be lasting so long. Our release, we're going to make a faster release as well. And we pretty much made the sound right there. Let's just go ahead and add in some effects just to make it a little sweeter and a little bit more polished. So the first thing we're going to do is bring in an EQ, and we're just going to cut out some of the lows here. I'm just going to bring this to about 130 roughly, and we're just going to, won't make this as steep of an octave there. Okay, that's good. We're going to bump up a little bit of the mids and just to kind of get in some of that mids there because we're kind of lacking it. And I'm going to cut out some of the highs because we want this to be sort of like a little filtered, if you will. Let's just bring this back to about 30, something like that is good. So that EQ just cleans it up ever so slightly. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to bring in an exciter, and that can be found under specialized exciter stereo. And for this one, I just quickly used the add silver preset and just went with that one as is. I may have pushed the harmonics up all the way. Next thing that you want to do is bring in a delay because with EDM sounds, there usually is a delay happening in the background. So let's go ahead and bring in a stereo delay. And the preset I used was 1/4 note dotted. what I did right here, I'm just going to go ahead and just cut out some of my highs on my right channel here. And I'm going to bring this about down to about 140. Just so it's not in your face. And I'm just going to lower the mix right here to about 15% on each side. Alright, so the last step that we're going to do is add in some reverb. Now I did apply a couple different reverbs to this guy right here, but to get the main idea, just bring in a, let's say a space designer, and let's just use a plate reverb. We'll go to medium space plate. Let's go with the first one. Let's see how that sounds. Lower the mix. You can also add in another reverb, which I kind of like the little effect that it gave me. Is also a space designer verb, and I'm going to bring in, what was it? I think it was outdoor. Yeah, it was the Rock Mountain Dark here. It has this little sound to it at the end, which I kind of liked in it. So that's pretty much the sound right there. You can go ahead and apply this to pretty much any EDM track, pop track, hip hop track even. And you can play with the cutoffs right here, so the filters, so we can bring this in. There's lots of things that you can automate with this. It's a pretty cool sound that could be applied to different scenarios. And if you just kind of automate some of the filters right here in this middle section, the filter section, you can get some cool sounds just working off of this right here. So I am going to go ahead and save this as a preset, so you don't have to do everything that I did. Just make your life a little bit easier, and then you can kind of apply some of the effects that I applied here, which was the channel EQ, exciter, and a stereo delay, and of course some reverb. If you do have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. If you are new to I'm a Music Mogul, remember to hit that subscribe button for more good videos like these. And as usual guys, I'll talk to you all in the next video. Talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.